G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to be drawing all over this piece of paper. I'm doing some little elements for Collage Club January 2022, which at this point, by the time you've seen this, will already be available. So I'm going to have a bit of a talk about Collage Club, what it was throughout 2021, and kind of my thoughts for 2022. I will just preface all of this by saying it's all subject to change. Just like everything. So yeah, listen if you want or just watch, but this is going to be a pretty laid back video to kick off your 2022. So Collage Club was originally kind of an extension of collage sheets I used to make and sell on Etsy, which I used to offer through a long time ago. We did these playtest Patreon experiences, and playtest exactly what it was. It was just kind of testing the waters with different types of content offerings that I hadn't really tried before, and just kind of seeing what would work. I feel like my early days of YouTube, I mean, you know what, let's be real, my entire JLB creative journey has been throwing pasta at wall and just seeing what sticks. So I think that is kind of the nature of anyone who works in a social media type industry. Not that my job here is social media, but social media is so much of the platform that people engage with my work on that it's a big element and it's a big part of it. And since it's always changing, like I remember when TikTok started becoming a thing and I was so hesitant, and then I joined TikTok and I did it for a while and then I just kind of trailed off for a bit. You know, we were always kind of keeping up, but also making sure that we're trying everything and just keeping the things that work, keeping them working and kind of greasing those wheels. And then the other things we just kind of let go or, revisit at another time when they make more sense. So for me, Patreon was one of those experiences that was all about learning in that, like how that would all work out. And so I offered collage sheets since many creators on Patreon that do a lot of art journaling would offer printable downloads. So I would do that, and once they were finished there, I put them on Etsy, and so they were available there. And I had some success, right at the beginning of my journey in JLB Creative, selling digi-stamps or like digital art. And I felt like it was always something I was interested in just for the, the business aspect of it. It's a really, there's no overhead really. I mean, whatever you cost to have an Etsy listing or, whatever your host platform is, you kind of pay a bit there, but it's not like stocking actual products in a store where you have to have the space, you have to wait for them to be created and shipped, and then you have to ship them out yourself. It was a very instant gratification type thing for customers too. They could have access to everything up front. And then also depending on the type of printer they had, or even extra accessories like a silhouette or a cameo, a cutting machine, it kind of, it was a different experience for everybody. So I won't say that digital is for everyone or that printables are for everyone, though it takes a very specific type of creator, I think. And as niche as I believed it was, I've had some success with my Collage Club that I would just love to continue with in 2022, if it makes sense to do so. I mean, I've always kind of been a bit open about, if things aren't making sense, I kind of let them go. But for me, Collage Club seemed to work really well through 2021. But I also, just as a person, I get this urge sometimes to ditch things that work and just try something else anyway. So, committing to Collage Club in 2022 is also one of those things where I'm trying to learn that if something works, I'm allowed to keep doing it. I don't have to find a new version of the wheel to try just because it's a new year. So that's been an interesting learning curve already for me, but I really want to try it again in 2022, and then also be open to whatever form it takes. Throughout 2021, I experimented with different types of things. I've found, not quickly, but I think after about halfway through the year, I kind of ditched this preconceived notion I had that I had to have a lot of like numbers or days of the week or months of the year, things like that, things that are a bit more planner or date specific. I felt like I'd run my course with those, and I wanted to add more illustrations in because they were something that I saw pop up a lot for people that were using my Collage Club printables. And so that was something I leaned into, which is great for me because illustration is something I do most often. And even though a lot of the numbers and everything were illustrated, I felt like it was just a very specific one type of use. But all of the extra just, hand-drawn elements were a bit more multi-purpose. So especially for people that were using it kind of like in its original form as collage fodder, it just seemed like it was better value that way. And yeah, we got through the entire year and it was always at least 5 sheets, but I think some months I know I had more than 5 in a few months, but I had 10 at Christmas, and that was a little overboard. I think that was too much, honestly, looking back at it. I don't regret it, but I do think 5 turned out to be a pretty good number. I considered going to 3 in 2022, but I think I'll stick with 5 because it does give me a chance to work with some bigger elements and some full pages. At the beginning, again, with the numbers, I did a lot of full pages, and then I kind of abandoned that idea after a while. Not that I'll never do it again, but it was always good for me to kind of notice what was more usable. And even though I don't kind of trend forecast my printables, they're just very related to whatever I'm drawing of the moment. And sometimes I go back through my archives and find stuff that I just really like and I want to share. I did kind of track the usability of some of the Collage Club pieces, and so I would not keep it in mind as though like I had to, satisfy a certain expectation, but it just naturally filtered through as, oh, okay, so when I'm looking, these types of things are a bit more usable than others. And so usually typically things with faces on them tend to be a bit more present in the social media posts. I got to take that with a grain of salt as well, I realize, because not everyone posts everything that they do. I'm looking at a very select few different people that I see use it often. And so, I mean, that's the thing about social media, right? And, looking at those analytics, you really are just, it could be a very subjective view. So I am willing to believe that even though I think some things are more usable, it might not actually be the case. I'm just letting the very few people that I see pop up in my Instagram all the time kind of dictate what that is. So if you want an opportunity to kind of sway the forecast, that would be something that I would encourage you post for, because I do see it. I do notice it. The thing that I was tempted to do at some points throughout 2021, but I was hesitant to do, and I will do today actually, is ask for suggestions. I want to give you an open forum to lay out, even if you're not a part of Collage Club, if this is something you would like to see in the future and maybe would be the reason you would join if something specific was in there, let me know in the comments below what types of things you would like to see. I'm going to use these comments as kind of a big jumping off point or a big sounding board for myself throughout the year, but I will always say I'm not going to promise anything because I always like to keep my options open, and I don't want you to be disappointed if I forget or if I just don't come through on my words. So no promises here, but I would really like to see if there's anything that you think would be beneficial to see in Collage Club. Even if it is, like, for instance, throughout the year when I got my silhouette Portrait 3, I included the silhouette cut files that I would make for myself. So if anyone had a silhouette, they could just use the print and cut files that I already had. So that took out a lot of work for people using the collage sheets or the printables as, full-size sticker sheets. That was a really simple way to kind of share that file, and people had access to making them, full-page sticker sheets, which is how I've been using them the most this year. Actually, I still have a lot of the original stuff intact, but I've used like the entire sheet of printables, and that's kind of big. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with art journaling or using printables in art journaling at all, but it's pretty rare that we actually get through a lot of the ephemera. We do a really good job of printing it and cutting it, but using it all, that's a whole different story. So using them as stickers, full page stickers with my silhouette and cutting them out, kiss cutting them, has been a big game changer for me. So that was something that I found completely helpful, and I'll continue to do whenever I make them. They're not a part of the subscription. I always just say if I'm making them for myself, I'll let you guys have them as well. If there is something you didn't like about Collage Club, that's not something I'm looking for in the comments. Don't let me censor you or anything, but it just goes without saying, if I put it in Collage Club, chances are I liked it, right? So it wouldn't be information I'm going to take on board too critically, but by all means, say whatever you would like to say in the comments. I'm not going to stop you, but it would be more helpful if you could just let me know things that you would either like to see, or things that you thought were successful and you did like that you would like to see happen again, or if you just have one very specific random piece of ephemera you would like to see. If it's human related, I'm usually pretty it could just float into my subconscious, but if you're like, oh, I want to see a donkey riding a camel on skates, that's most likely never going to happen. I always say, like, if you've seen me do it before, you'll probably see me do it again. But if you're just, shooting your shot, why not? Put it in the comment section. Miracles do happen. So, yeah, I thought I would open up that forum for you and just let you know that I am looking for kind of input and just to see whatever that means. We'll see what that happens in 2022. My other thoughts about Collage Club, I actually really enjoyed it. I got scared at one point that I wouldn't have enough content to fill it, which is ridiculous because there's still so much content I haven't shared. So I think we're in good standing as far as having a lot of content to use. I have loved being able to share this in a very meaningful and intentional way, and also putting them on Etsy after they rotate out after 4 months. I do think that was a good idea, just for the purposes of keeping Collage Club manageable. There was a part of me that thought in the very beginning, well, it should just be a huge back catalog and you should be able to reference like all of the sheets and be able to access all of them at once. But since there was no way to price that fairly for people who were long-standing members versus people who would join, 12 months into the piece, that's why we started those rotations. And I'm glad to say that I actually haven't had any problems with that. We've had a few people miss some of the downloads, which is a little unfortunate, but I do try to make sure that people know when the sheets are rotating out, and it is just something that I ask people self-manage because it does get a little hectic trying to manage that for every individual who might have an issue. But for the most part, we've been pretty okay. I think my other thoughts about it are, I liked when we did little themed bits and pieces. I always enjoyed sharing that, especially times when we had workshops and there was a lot of stuff going on. It got a little tricky for anyone who joined me with workshops because there was a lot of digital content flying at them there and then also in Collage Club. So if you're someone that does my workshops and you're maybe trying to plan your year out budget-wise, I would say get rid of the Collage Club around workshop time. I know that sounds terrible to say, but I am trying to help you out here. It can get overwhelming. And I think that's one of the other things that I've noticed is that since there is so much, it doesn't seem like a lot really when you say, oh, it's just 5 downloads, but there is so much content packed into there that I do notice that a lot of people come and then they go and then they come back after a few months. And that was something I was aware of in the beginning. And I know some people had told me about it as well, but I was completely prepared for it. And I actually think it's a good idea for people who don't need to be overwhelmed with that much choice or are simply looking to save money, because you can actually catch the rotation. If you join in January, you get the 4 months and then you skip out for 4 months and then come back. You can manage to catch that whole rotation again. Does that make sense? You have to be on top of it, otherwise you'll kind of miss a set or something. But some people have managed to do that and managed to do that quite well. It's personally something I would never have the patience to do, but if you could do it, I don't begrudge you doing it. And the last thing I guess I'll mention with Collage Club is that I think early on in the piece I said there was a limited fair use license. What did I call it? I think it was just a usage license. It was up to 50 pieces, but I think in a video I said 100, so I think I amended that in the actual thing and put 100. And it was for handmade items, and it was basically anything that you wanted to create that wasn't sent through a manufacturer and sell. You actually do have a license that comes with your subscription to use that. My only stipulation with that is that whilst you're selling the item, I would just ask that you stay subscribed to Collage Club for that duration. I'm not actually going to go and check it, so honestly, do whatever you want. But that's just my little honor policy. What do they call it? Angel policies. If that's what it is, that's what it is. But absolutely feel free to, I would say use them in Christmas cards or birthday cards, or if you've got a little handmade Etsy store, you make little handmade earrings and stuff, all of that kind of thing, as long as it is a non-manufacturing process, so they can't be shipped out. Whatever the art appears on, it doesn't even have to be that transformative. It is literally available for use as is, as long as it's handmade. So yeah, that's just something that I like to remind people of, because I know we've got some creators that have their own shops within the community and people like to use that as well. What else have I got to say? I think that's it. I think that's Collage Club. I'm going to keep going as it's been working throughout 2021, and we'll see how it goes again. Please do leave your suggestions in the comments below for anything that you would like to see in there, or anything that you think might be fun, or a fun idea to try, even if it doesn't have to be fully fleshed out or anything. Or if you are looking for something incredibly specific, now would be your chance to speak or forever hold your peace. This is the first month of Collage Club. This will be one sheet in the pack. Hopefully you've seen the pack already. I'll have a full flip through of the sheets available on YouTube as well, just to see what's available for January, and I'll see you again in Collage Club for February. Until then, bye.